Welcome to this channel. Today I'm going to share with you a very important topic, and that is the martial art tragedy of modern China. I'm sharing this topic because many of our traditional Chinese martial art friends have messaged me and chat with me and leaving comment under my videos or YouTube. And so I'm sharing this topic today so that we can look at things based on evidence. It's not about using media to propagate things. It is not about bullying, but it is look at things, what it is. So we know the truth of what is going on. As a human living in a democratic society with human rights and with the free speech, as we live in Silicon Valley, the reason why technology and the progress of science can go so fast in the past 30 years or so is because everybody is following the rules of respect each other based on evidence, and people believe in the reason and fairness and treat everybody equal without saying that this guy is rich, this guy is poor, this guy is whatever, but based on facts, based on evidence. So today I'm going to share with you in the same manner. So this is not a video of whose side I take, but to present you what is going on. Today, if you click on the YouTube or in internet, you type in the Chinese 打假传武, which means expose the fake traditional Chinese martial arts, or you Google in the fake traditional Chinese martial arts, you will see all kinds of trashing traditional Chinese martial arts. You see young people from China who trashing traditional Chinese martial art and all kinds of stuff. Now, how much facts or evidence they have, or are they logically accurate when they do those type of things, or are they in a gray area? So we want to look into that. Okay, this is a chaos today. Now, let's go back to 100 years ago, in the 1930s. 100 years ago, the Chinese traditional martial art expert like Dr. Ma Li Tang and so forth have proposed an idea of get rid of the mysticism or magical traditional Chinese martial arts. Get rid of the performance or state-like, dance-like traditional Chinese martial arts. Get rid of my style is the best style. problem in traditional Chinese martial arts. And Chinese martial art needs to be able to do combat, and also traditional Chinese martial art need to be able to develop or make one's body more healthy. So you have 5 of this, really specific. Okay. Now, that's 100 years ago. With that, 100 years ago, there is problem in traditional Chinese martial art practice. Okay, you know that already. And these people want reform. So they want to get rid of all this thing. Secrecy, magical, my style is the best style, and I have this secret, and it look like a dance type of stuff, which cannot apply in combat, and also it doesn't contribute to a better health. So that's 100 years ago. It's written really clearly. Very specific problem being addressed. After 100 years, we know those problems did not get solved. And it actually get boosted. The problem get boosted even worse by what? Movies, by the fictions, the Chinese fictions and Chinese movie. Okay. Now, 4 years ago, you hit that Xi Xiaodong brought up about exposing fake traditional Chinese martial art when he defeated Lei Lei, a practitioner of Tai Chi. Now, after that, the term 打假传武, or exposing the fake traditional Chinese martial art, can be anything. If you look at it in the YouTube, it can be anything. And I can show with you evidence of play down, purposely make that term a gray area term and playing down the traditional Chinese martial art, whether they know it or they don't know it. They play it down. Okay, that is the game. Because there are many young Chinese who is anti-Chinese culture. Example. The person who made this video in YouTube, he is clueless on the Shaolin Short Strike Canon. He never read it, he don't understand what the heck it is, and he said that that is for, in the more crude words, kiss as the Qing Emperor. Okay? So it is what it is. The term exposing fake is like a mantra, can be used for anything. As soon as they want to destroy something, it is nothing to do about what is the truth anymore. It's about a mantra using to destroy things. It's no different than the cultural revolutions. You destroy everything under of the old is bad. Look at cultural evolution. That's exactly the behavior of those young Chinese. Thus, as what I show you here, Just one of example. I'm going to show you more. Okay? Now, so exposing traditional Chinese martial art start by Xi Xiaodong today. It's like starting a cultural evolution. If you look at the pattern, you look at how the media, that's what it is. And also, like for example, in this video, he said that the boxing hero defeated Wing Chun. Boxing hero defeated Wing Chun. And he said that I have bleeding, but traditional Chinese martial art. Have you breathed before? What? This is another of this. Okay? So now the situation is like a mess. This is not 100 years ago when specifically the professional tell you what is going wrong there, need to be correct. This is for destruction. This is for correction. We see it really clearly today based on evidence. So as what I said, this is the same with cultural revolution of China. 1965, you send your young guy out there to destroy the culture, destroy whatever. I'm not saying that all ancient culture is good. I'm saying that using the exposing fake traditional Chinese martial art to do whatever they like, or they carry out their hatreds or whatever. This is not appropriate. How can a boxing hero defeat Wing Chun? Wing Chun is a system, a culture. A boxing guy is a person. Even like Xi Xiaodong is a person. He can go fight whoever, and he can win. But again, that nothing to do with the traditional Chinese martial arts. But to that person, you always see in MMA, okay, different styles compete, and one win, one get defeated. But nobody going to say that, oh, I defeat your entire style. And of course, people argue when you say, hey, you know, a human and a system is a different thing. They say, no, we are talking about just a human. Well, can you be specific, or you want to play with this gray area? This type of thinking is really playing in the gray area. Traditional Chinese martial art or world martial art is a technical thing. So if you want to go to, say for example, a patent office, to defend for your patent, you need to be clear on what you're talking about. And if you want to tell the customer what good is your product, you better be specific. But obviously people here know. Some do not understand what is going on and just going for it. As what I say, like the cultural evolutions get high. And some is purposely have an agenda. So what is that happened today as what I just showed you? The people who have no idea on the ancient teaching, putting a media out to just put it down. And here, it is putting out illogic media, video, and everybody follow. If those who do not have the proper understanding will follow. Okay? So traditional Chinese martial art do have problem in their practice. since 100 years ago. That's written in the history. However, that is very different than today's. The cultural evolution style of playing down traditional Chinese martial arts or doing whatever they want based on the term or the mantra of exposing fake traditional Chinese martial arts. Okay? So that need to be known. The second is Xu Xiaodong is a Sanda player. Okay? Xu Xiaodong is a Sanda player. He practiced Sanda. His teacher is a founder of the Sanda of China. Now, Sanda is a Western-based art, which is based on Western sport culture. So when I say this, I have to take the responsibility to show you the evidence. So this is the teacher or the Sifu of Xu Xiaodong. In his book, this book, we can see that by evidence, he described what is Sanda. He himself said, Sanda is based on Western sport culture. And if you look at the Sanda practice, it is based on your jab, your cross, your hook. So Sanda, even though it has incorporate with some traditional Chinese martial arts techniques, it is a Western-based martial art which is created after the cultural revolutions in the 1970s or 1980s. Okay, after the cultural revolutions. By definition, Sanda is not a traditional Chinese martial arts. It is not. It is a boxing type of art from the West, and it evolved with many things like the kick from karate or taekwondo and the Chinese, some techniques and so forth. That's how it evolved. That is a Western-based martial art, which is created in after the cultural revolutions. This is very different than like General Qi Ji Guang. We all know that General Qi Ji Guang studied the Japanese samurai sword play. We all know that, and he admits that. However, General Qi Ji Guang is evolving traditional Chinese martial art based on what he learned from the Japanese samurai sword. As in my previous video, I shared that the sword, the weight of the sword, the length of the sword, the play of the sword is different. It is designed to counter the Japanese samurai sword. This is not. This is basically Western sport culture base. And from this book, from this book, from the book of the Xi Xiaodong's teacher, we know that he do not understand Chinese martial arts or ancient traditional Chinese martial art, because he jumped from Tang Dynasty and Song Dynasty to today, and then he do not understand the term, what is the term arts mean, martial arts means of the Chinese, ancient Chinese culture. In this book, he's saying that the art is the mysticism and so forth, so forth. Well, so what is the problem? The problem is the entire book do not involve the Qi Guang martial art development of Ming Dynasty. So he thought in this book, it wrote down there, or Chinese have this posture making sets, you know, like playing form. He have no idea on the general Qi Guangs, and at that time all the general, because they need to reform to counter the Japanese pirate, or to settle the Japanese pirate. They have really accurate descriptions of the momentum play. Momentum play, not posture. And of course, from this book, we can see that Xi Xiaodong's teacher do not understand about the long fist and the short strike of Chinese martial arts, which is in the Ming Dynasty military classic. That's one part they don't understand when they, and it is not in this Western base type of sanda. Even though over here he mentioned a lot of problem with the traditional Chinese martial art, like mysticism and artistic and so forth, but he doesn't know what is it about on the ancient Chinese culture or traditional Chinese martial art means. On another part, he's talking about this, like the 5 elements and so forth, like mysticism, and that show him do not understand the 6 healing sounds, the breathing practice, like from the Buddha's teaching of Anapanasati, which is later being practiced in Shaolin. And so they took this kind of thing as like mysterious stuff. Okay? That is the thing in the book. And that is another problem. In today's sport science, today's say the sport athletes using breathing techniques to handle the to help handling the recovery, or be more specific, the heart rate variability, like I map it out in Wing Chun Inception. The heart rate, the H model, the heart rate variability. So he have no idea on that thing in the book, okay? Because when what he taught, what he present is not what the traditional Chinese martial art is about in the ancient. Okay? So there's no understanding on traditional Chinese martial art, and it is a Western-based martial art or sports created in modern China But that is not traditional Chinese martial arts, technically. Okay, to be technical accurate. Now, after that, you look at all kinds of action, which is really self-righteous, finger pointing at traditional Chinese martial arts. Now, you look into the YouTube. I give you an example. This is Xu Xiaodong showing the Western boxing type of the hook. And this is showing Wing Chun. You know from his descriptions, he have no idea what is a long fist or short strike. As we know, his teacher doesn't know. Santa doesn't know. So he make the self-righteous presentation here. Not knowing that he's using the Western boxing as a reference to judge what he don't know. So if you look at this, the guy who don't know what he don't know, judging something he don't know, isn't it that is a fake too? So there's a self-righteousness there. You base on this, and then you just keeping saying that the ancient Chinese martial is blah blah blah. Well, according to whom? According to you. Is there any evidence? There is no evidence. But according to you, and I just show you from the Ming Dynasty, exactly, I'm showing you Ming Dynasty writing. This is describing long fist and short strike and the momentum handling and different techniques. This is Wu Pian from Tang Sunzhi. Not even this. There are many of them. So Xu Xiaodong is not talking Chinese. He's talking using the Western. And for me, it's like what? Like if I never train judo, I say that if I train boxing, I never train judo, I go to tell the judo guy, you don't know what you're talking about. That's what it is. And it proceeds with this. He said that one need to hold the hand this way, you know, but this is the traditional Chinese martial art is totally opposite of this. This is the same guy saying that the Shaolin Sword Strike book is for kissing ass the emperor. Look at this. This diagram for 300 something years ago, like in the late 1600, versus this on their handling. How different is that? Again, this is another example of self-righteousness. So now we go by evidence, okay? So from this, we can look into one thing. Is like when you go self-righteousness because your father is, your daddy is bigger than my daddy, your daddy can beat my daddy, then you go into the bullying. It is a bullying, right? This is bullying traditional Chinese martial arts without knowing what it is. As what I say, there are many Chinese today, young Chinese today, is anti ancient Chinese culture, even though they are clueless on what they are talking about. So this is the evidence. Okay? Now, so it is a different thing. The Western-based martial art, the modern Chinese invented or create, and the ancient traditional Chinese martial art, like based on this, and based on like Anapanasati. So one cannot say, hey, you know, in the West, when we have in Harvard making research on, say, the Tibetan monks, Buddhist monk, on the samadhi, that's right, that's right. When the Chinese practice the Anapanasati, say, well, that's wrong, that's wrong. That's what happened now. In fact, it is the guy have no idea. So you look at that, this guy, like Xi Xiaodong's teacher, start with him because he don't understand what is going on there. He have his Western base. Xi Xiaodong have the same mentality. And now all kinds of followers in the YouTube have the same mentality, and they just promote Xi Xiaodong is proper. That's what happened. So that's why I say it's like cultural evolution. You have no idea what you're talking about. And you're just against because you want to against it. And again, I'm not saying that the practice of Chinese martial art is no problematic today. Also not following this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that even 100 years ago, there's already. It is a destructive stuff. And then they keeping talking about like this thing. Boxing hero defeated Wing Chun. What does it solve? Is it a reality? No. A boxing hero is a human. Wing Chun is a system. Apple is apple, pear is a pear. Apple is not pear. Logic, okay? The second thing, what does you do good for the traditional Chinese martial arts? Which is your Chinese culture anyway, by the way. It is very non-Chinese if you compare with what happened in the Ming Dynasty in the time of General Qi Guang. In the record, this is Zhen Qi Tang Ji by General Yi Dayu. Yi Dayu is one of the 3 generals which is contribute to the reform of the Chinese military in Ming Dynasty so that they can settle the Japanese pirates and reform the Chinese martial arts. Yi Dayu, in this writing, in this work, Yi Dayu, when he heard that the Shaolin is good in their martial art, Yi Dayu went to Shaolin, test it out. And after that, Yi tell the Shaolin people, you guys do not have inherit what is in the ancient. You no longer inherit what is the ancient. So did Yi Dayu go out there and selling a market for his stuff so that he is the #1 guy like today's? Everybody talk about this MMA, Xi Xiaodong and everything. No. Yi Dayu actually get 2 of the Shaolin monks go with him back to the army He trained them for years, and then he sent these two monks back to Shaolin so that everybody can get educated and be able to know what is the proper way of the pole play and the Shaolin martial arts. That is Chinese. Okay? So today I want to present this to you. Isn't this a tragic? The guy who tried to expose the fake traditional Chinese martial art is actually clueless on traditional Chinese martial arts. And the guy who practiced traditional Chinese martial art is also clueless on traditional Chinese martial arts. Seriously. How many in traditional Chinese martial art have really studied this book and really comprehend it? How many of the Sanda people or creator or founder really know what is going on here? This is from Ming Dynasty. Don't talk about too far away, it's in the Ming Dynasty. So if it is one thing to solve problem, you say, well, traditional Chinese martial art is already had problem like 100 years ago. You list out what is the problem and let's solve it. And then we use the ancient, this is what it is to solve it. And you can, like Qi Shi Guang say here, this is called Ji Xiao Xing Su. Xing Su, Qi Shi Guang defined it this way. I am using the ancestors' ideas or the traditional idea, but I'm not limited from the ideas. That's why he took the Japanese sword practice in to reform the Chinese martial arts. There's nothing wrong with that. And also there's nothing wrong with a Chinese create a Western-based martial art in modern China. Nothing wrong with that. However, when you try to use this Western-based Santa as the self-righteousness to judge on things you have no idea, as I show you here, including the fighting methods, the trainings, and the internal training, which is like today's yoga. Somebody who make the research in Harvard, okay, the Tibetan samadhi or the yoga practice, when one don't have idea on that and keeping thinking that the Western sport thing is the ultimate, what is that? So the entire thing, this is what happened now in 2021, COVID time, March 23rd. So let our friend 100 years later know this problem. And I just hope that 100 years later, this problem been solved. Because smart people, okay, you have smart people in Santa, you have smart people in the traditional Chinese martial art. It's time to stop this destructive movement called exposing the fake. For the traditional Chinese martial art, you can solve it very simple. You set a standard. All those nonsense BS stuff must not teach. On the Santa, you set the standard. Whatever is not in the field, stop talking about it. Stop pushing the follower to do the destructive thing. Thing solved. And then anybody who want to really improve the traditional Chinese martial arts, they can improve based on their studying. The Sanda people and the traditional Chinese martial art people can work together to come up with a better thing. Problem solved. But if it's going the way of the traditional Chinese martial art people have no standard, keeping going on those nonsense, who know what the heck it is, which is not following the ancient, and this guy keeping promoting, oh, they know it all, because I can beat you, so I'm right. then it is a complete destruction. So this is what I share with you. This is the tragic I see in the martial art of modern China today. And all this many YouTuber is keeping brought out, oh, Xi Xiaodong defeat this guy, that guy, and then put it down there. It's like showing that even there's one guy who is picking on a style in Hong Kong. The same guy who made the video just now to say the Shaolin short strike art is a kiss ass, is picking at the 大圣劈挂门, a style which really work hard to have many competition with the Thai boxing and so forth, and doing pretty good. They evolve and doing good. And this the same guy is picking at this style, saying that, oh, this is not traditional Chinese martial arts. On, of course, his own self-righteous definition. And he's saying that, oh, in the brain of all traditional Chinese martial art practitioners, they are just living in their own brain. It's not a science at all. In the West, in America, we prove to you what is science, okay? We prove to you based on data what is science. Momentum, what is science, okay? Like in the restricting Wing Chun. All this multi-directional force and momentum. So, all this claim without have reasons or anything to back up this claim, and then now it's spread around the world. So all the Sanda people, the founder Sanda, like Xi Xiaodong's teacher, have a responsibility. Look at what happened now. Okay? And also this behavior. The behavior of saying that, oh, I beat this guy, I beat Wing Chun, I beat that guy. That's not Chinese martial at all. If you want to compete in the ring, go fight Mike Tyson. I encourage Xi Xiaodong or his teacher go fight Mike Tyson. Since you are studying Western boxing, why don't you go fight Mike Tyson? Go make it. Instead of going jump over to other thing you have no clue, and people is not professional, and then you just create all kinds of problem for destruction. Right? So this is to share with you today. Because the more I look into this mess, the more I feel really sad. Very, very disappointed on the people around us. You have millions of people in China, but they cannot straighten this out and create all this problem. That's why it is really, really depressed. Or not depressed, sorry. Disappointed. And of course, it's none of my business. I'm not Chinese anyway, right? But as a scholar who do research in traditional Chinese martial art, this is what you see. You see what is going down to the tube. It is not about human. It's about everybody wanting their piece of benefit, and that's why it become like that. And what is the consequence? You destroy the culture.